Perfect.
Okay, so we are live now, and I'm gonna take off the little starting soon thing because we're going now. All right, crazy people. So Marcellus is sick, and Vex is MIA, but Stringer and Pac-Man and I are here to play.
Indeed, we are.
So, oh man, okay, so yes, when we ended last time, we checked on and the Stringer's bus was going to be ready soon, and we had a meeting coming up in a day or two for all the for the Charter Hill South regentrification people. We're going to present the findings or your investigation so far on what's going on and with the buildings blowing up and being taken over and all that. Because you got some juicy details on that chip you found. And so
Indeed.
we had a bit of a warrant recovery thing, and everybody got paid for that. I believe that was Friday afternoon or evening in game that all that happened. The whole recovery thing, I mean.
I'm not certain what day it was, but
and the whole town hall thing was going to be Sunday. So, anything anybody wants to do in between?
I want to try and get hold of a couple of small bugs. Because at the town hall meeting, I want to slip a bug onto the phone arm of the suit or whatever that's being worn by the two people behind the the improvements, the Charter Hill Council.
The two fixers.
Yeah, because I don't yet know whether they walked out of the first meeting at the Hell Club because they didn't agree with this plan to, bulldoze the entire area, or if they walked out because the other 6 didn't agree with the plan. Now, if it's because the other 6 didn't agree with the plan and they had them killed, it's going to get dangerous for us to go public with what we know. But if they were opposed to it, then it's going to be okay for them to hear all these details. In fact, we want them to hear it all. So the reason why I want to slip a little bug onto their phone arm is so that I can have a recording of any phone calls they make if they pop out or afterwards.
So that's something you want to try to do actually at the event when you meet them or something like that.
Yeah. Or my actual plan with that is to ask Mr. Grubling at the Bozos, because one of his guys can get away with a more excessive handshake and doing something silly that will actually involve slipping the bug onto the sleeve of his jacket than I can. In fact, it may even be that he's got some highly skilled pickpockets amongst his crew. I don't know exactly what their alternative sources of income are.
Well, you had tried before to get meetings with him and the Western Stars leader, but they both indicated their people indicated they would just see you at the meeting at the time.
Yep.
They were tied up in the meantime. And that would, if you try again to get through to them, you're going to get the same kind of response. Basically, they're planning to see you at the meeting. They're just too busy, too tied up to get a meeting.
Well, I'm going to have to
Unless
be there
now,
ready to set cameras.
if you try to push it, that's an emergency, or you have to see them immediately. Then you could try that. But besides that,
Well, I'm going to have to be there early to set up a camera and things to record this. So
okay.
hopefully I'll catch them as they're coming in and present them with the suggestion. I mean, I've filled them in before on the fact that those 2 guys left the meeting and then the other 6 were murdered. So I'll be able to quickly let them know.
Oh, that was on TV. Pretty much everybody probably knows about that.
Yeah. They'll be able to quickly fill them in on why, because, because, we need to know if these 2 support the urban renewal or whether they oppose it. And if they support it, bugging them for tonight will be a bloody useful thing.
So, you're gonna do some online shopping, or you're gonna go to a shop for that? How do you want to, or do you want me to just give you some numbers and you can pick something?
Ed tech.
Or do you have something from one of the books you want to try to use? And while you're looking that up, Pac-Man, do you have anything in particular you want to do for the next couple of days in game?
Yeah, I got this great brand new ammo rider that came with my license, so I'm probably going to go use that because I need about 100 rounds of dual purpose.
It is not hard to buy that for you at this point, to buy that ammo. You can go to almost any store and present your license and purchase it. And did I give you prices last time on what it was going to be?
No, you did not.
Okay. So, your cop price is going to be, bounty hunter.
Bounty hunter, yeah.
Bounty hunter price.
Licensed and bonded bounty hunter.
The licensed and bonded bounty hunter. So, there is... If you go, and I would have to go, I'm not going to go look it up in the Night City book right now, but if you want to just go to a regular store like in the mall or something like that, in a mall, something of that nature, guns and ammo store, it's going to be double the book, just whatever the book price is, just double that, and you can pick up what you need. Keep it simple. Simple, easy.
That's perfect.
You'll have like a cab ride to go get it, 50 plus whatever tip you want to put in, and if you're interested in getting that contact information from the driver, I'll get you that.
No, not right yet. For the contact info, I don't need to be spreading my name out too thin yet.
Okay.
But yeah, okay. So I'll definitely tip him a little nice. Give him a 10%er on the ride. It's just a ride in Night City.
Well, keeping up with those things will affect your ability to get rides, especially when you're in a hurry and stuff, or how far somebody will go to, get you help when you need a ride. Stringer, did you? Oh God,
160,
sorry.
160. So double is.
Just double it.
320. 320.
So whatever that. Yep, there you go.
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
Yep. Stringer, did you find something that you want to use for the bug?
No, I didn't.
Okay. You can pick up a button, close button ish size deal that has a adhesive on the back. You peel it off, as you try to place it, it'll stick to most things, and it will have not a huge range depending on how much you want to spend and stuff, but I'm gonna say you can pick up a kit with 3 bugs, 3 transmitters, and a receiver for it that you can plug into your camera or your other devices, or will record on its own to a chip. For $1,500, and that will have a good range. That will have a half-mile range.
Yep.
And those will last for the batteries in them can last 8. Well, it lasts. It's a variable. It'll last like 3, 4, 5 hours on its own, but it has a micro solar cell on it as well. So depends on how much time they're spend outside, how long it'll last, or in sufficient light. Theoretically, if they're outside enough, if they're or under bright lights enough, it could last indefinitely. And so if there's nothing else going on in between, we will just move on ahead up to the afternoon of the meeting, Sunday afternoon. Does that work, Boston? Does that bug work for you, or did you want to find something more budget or something cooler?
No, that'll do.
Okay. So you got that picked up. And you also had to go to a shop to do that, so the same kind of thing. You had a €50 cab ride, plus whatever tip you want to do to pick that up.
Yeah.
And we're going to move on ahead. And I guess Bex is not going to be here, so we'll just move on ahead. So, you do, in between, Stringer, you get updated on where the meeting is going to be. There is this meeting this time is going to be at the Western Stars Theater in their place. Apparently last week's meeting was at actually the Bozo's Circus at their facility, but this time, like I said, it's going to be at the Western Stars. And I do a map here, or a quick look at what it's going to be while we're talking here. Anyway, so this is going to be, where is it? So at the Western Star, so we know where it's going to be. How early? The meeting is scheduled to start at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. How early do you want to be there?
About 2-ish.
Okay, so around an hour early. And Pac-Man, I should say, Stringer, do you tell Pac-Man about it? Or if you're not going to let him know about it, Pac-Man, are you going to find a way to find out about it?
No, I'll let him know what my plans are.
Okay.
All right, I'll offer to come with him and bring the chip on my person if he wants it to stay on somebody a little harder to rough up.
The one with the drawings and all the info and stuff we're talking about, right?
One of his copies, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I did have a copy of that myself because I was doing an audio-visual presentation rather than just the raw material.
Okay.
Yeah, I was offering to hold on to your chips for you in case, some rough and tumble occurs during the hour before.
Yep.
So do you want to go ahead and do pre-set up a presentation for all this and write something, or are you just going to do it on the fly?
I want to set up something in advance.
Okay.
That way, I can play it back, and if I sound like an idiot, I can do it again.
Right. Well, you're probably going to want, I would assume, you're not going to want to do the presentation recorded, but you can do your like your PowerPoint kind of thing. You can set that up ahead of time. You can write what it is you want to say ahead of time, and then you'll actually, read from it. Does that sound like what you want to do, or do you want to do something else?
No, I'll do something ahead of time. And
okay, so you want to make some rolls then? It sounds like
21 for composition.
That's pretty good.
On the photography and film.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that means that the visual part of the
damn good
setup is going to be pretty good.
That was a natural 10 on the visuals, all that. So yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. All right.
I'll be wearing my new suit if it's arrived.
Yep, it has. Pac-Man, do you want to do any particular style or type of?
Yeah, I'm gonna take those. I'm gonna take these amazingly glorious, heat-seeking, super magnifying gogglage I have, and go ahead and do a sweep through the room and the building.
If there's any once you get there,
that are out of place. Yeah,
you're talking about once you get there. I was
hour ahead.
I was gonna say, as far as wardrobe and style, personal grooming, do you want to roll that stuff?
Oh yeah, sure. I'll put
That's what I was talking
together,
about.
Of course. And,
yeah.
I will definitely make sure that I've got my 10 speed loaders of DP and 2 speed loaders of the safety rounds, the frangibles, ready, just in case. And I will be loaded up with the dual purpose on the 454s first. So, personal grooming. That's a 4. So no fails yet.
Uh-oh.
Of course. I'm wearing my vest like a jackass today, apparently.
you have failed. So I assume you guys are going to ride over together or walk. It's not too far down the road if you wanted to walk.
Yeah.
And so assuming you're guys are going to meet in the lobby, and Stringer's going to notice. You would notice that his the Pac-Man's clothing could use some help. He's really messed up. He's got a tie that completely, or accessories that don't match. He's got a big blood stain on one thing, on part of his clothes. It's just not appropriate for a meeting like this. Now it's up to you if you're going to say anything or just let him go that way.
I think I will point out the blood stain.
Well, then I suppose I should switch to my other jacket.
Give you the opportunity to re-roll, basically.
Yeah, sure. I'll throw one Lucky Lou in there.
All right.
So that I can't fumble again.
All
but
right.
I can still roll a 3. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, but 15 isn't too bad. I mean, you're not extraordinary, but it's not bad.
Yeah.
So you got a 15 on each now. And 18 and 21. Okay, excellent.
Well, I'm looking above average. I'm not a 10, so there you
go. That's right. Oops. Okay, so... Alright, so you guys going to walk, or are you going to take a cab or something down?
I'll walk down, it's not far.
Okay.
Yeah, walk down's fine.
Okay. So... let's see. So you go outside. Yeah, you just got, 3 or 4 blocks or so. You go down. Western Stars, they do have several people out on the street ahead of time. Even at this point, not letting just anybody into the building. But you introduce yourselves, you identify yourselves, they will let you in. You are on the list. You're on the schedule to make a presentation as part of today's meeting. You are not the only ones here, but you are allowed in the backstage when you get back there you get take a look. This is kind of an idea of what it looks like from the stage, looking out onto the seating area. Anyone who might know, this has actually been built to be a replica to look a lot like the Ryman Theater. That's the Grand Ole Opry in Nashville.
Ooh. A nice homage.
So, yes. There are some differences. There are some modern touches around, but they are concealed to an extent. It is made to look pretty period, turn of the century kind of, turn of the to the 1900 century in general, although there are some modern stuff that you're going to see too. So you're going to do some looking around. Pac-Man's going to do some looking around, you mentioned before, with the goggles. And in Stringer, you're going to set up an extra camera or your camera, something like that. What's your plans?
I want to set my camera up to record the people who... I assume there's a table up there that the main people are going to be sat behind.
They do. There's actually a... there are actually a table off to one side with... it has 6 chairs at it. 2 of them have name tag and name plates, name placards, so to speak, which are the 2 fixtures that are remaining. The other 6 seats don't have any, or just there's spaces at the table, but there's nobody in the seats. Or, excuse me, no name cards or anything on the table for those positions. There's also several across from the other. That's on stage left. On stage right, there's several chairs set up, about 24 actually set up there, and there is a microphone and a podium stuff set up in the center. There is just off the stage right in the front, like an orchestra area, there's actually a riser and stuff set up with a projector and some other stuff for presentations for whatever might need to go on the screen. There's a big screen that would be behind the person speaking at the podium. So you as you want to get your camera set up, there is a tech there that is part of the Western Stars that's handling that setup. He will give you a place where you can set up your camera. He's cool with that. He'll help you out with that stuff. And where you can even plug your stuff into their audio system, so you'll get all the microphones and all that stuff, each at their own channel for your recording. So you're going to do
Western Stars techie.
Yep.
If he's going to be doing any filming for the stars.
They do. They actually have multiple cameras set up around the theater. They record everything, every show, everything.
Yeah. I'm going to ask you, when I start doing my presentation, I'd like you to zoom in on the 2 fixers, if possible, because I want to be able to see their expressions when this information comes out. It's about the, the overall plan.
One of the video channels, they actually have a camera that's on the table where those guys are. They have a camera that's on the seats on the other side of the stage. They have a camera on the person at the podium, and each of those things are being recorded all the time.
Yeah. So good, because my presentation today is the overall plan that the people who are demolishing the buildings are going to do. And when I expose this plan, which affects, your guys and me, I want to be able to see the looks on their faces. But, if I can get it off your film, then I don't have to make it bloody obvious while I'm giving the presentation.
Yeah, he will. He says all that's being recorded anyway, and he'll be sure to get you a copy of it. Just see him after the meeting.
Yeah. Thanks.
There are, and actually now that you're counting, there are 3 rows of 12 seats on the stage right side. of 12 chairs, and there are name tags on all the chairs. This is a very well organized, apparently, much better than you guys would have expected, or might have expected. I don't know what you were thinking, but it's a very well organized and apparently put together event here.
They are professionals when it comes to putting on their show.
This is true. There are tags for each of seats for each of you. There's a little on the back of the seat. There's a little card with your spot where your names have been written in for each of you, Pac-Man and Stringer. Three rows back is where you guys have seats on the stage, though.
Yep.
There's actually cards there also for Vex and for Marcellus, and for a bunch of other people, obviously. A whole bunch of other people. The front row appears to be all for leaders of each group, and it's like there's depending on which, there's 2 to 3 chairs, and then there's at least a 1 chair gap, and then there's 2 or 3 chairs and a gap, and 2 or 3 chairs and a gap on that front row of the seats on the stage. The first 2 or 3 rows out in the crowd there is all roped off and reserved, is what it's marked as well. Pac-Man, you wanted to look around?
I did indeed. I wanted to take a look with the very nice goggles I have, make sure if there's anything looking out of place, any errant heat signatures. I will inquire with the owners about them before investigating. Hey, there's a hot spot here. Is there something out of place? Do you know about it? That sort of thing.
Well,
just
there is
standard security looking.
I was going to say there is security. It's not too hard for you to figure out. You want to roll your awareness notice when you're ready there with using the goggles. But there's security wandering around. There's security at every door. Of course, the people that were outside checking the list and only not letting just everybody
but I don't
in.
Trust anyone. They might intentionally set something up. I don't know. So
who knows? Who knows?
I will be lucking this a little bit so that in case I fumbleito. Got very close, but
not quite. Almost. Nice, you were trying.
Really,
pretty
just trying
close.
to do as bad as possible, apparently. But
yep. Without quite fumbling. So yeah, there are, if you're just heat signatures, there are heat signatures all around. There are cameras. There are other electronic equipment. All of the walls, both on the balcony and on the lower part, are all made to look Western and period. Very, all designed to be period. But if you walk around some, you talk to some of the security people, nothing that seems too out of place. You don't find any hidden auto machine guns or, that kind of stuff.
Nothing about a battery-sized heat signature where it shouldn't be that might indicate, a power detonator somewhere or a remote.
Nothing of that nature. If you're looking for explosives specifically, you may want to roll your demolitions.
I do not have demolitions. I just have the looky-loo and.
Okay.
I did not spec into.
You did not do that specifically.
Of them when I was in.
Okay. So you don't find anything. I mean, there's lots of things to find and go check out, but nothing that seems too suspicious.
Nothing that sets off the radar.
Right. So, yep. As you're approaching 30 minutes, some people are starting to wander in. All kinds of people, all kinds of dress. There's some people sitting up in the balcony, some people sitting on the lower side. There is a carload of bozos that show up, to a van load, actually. And as they get out, they must have really been crowded in there. It's like they do that on purpose. They try to shove as many in there as they can so they can have that classic clown car effect when they show up. But they come in, they pick up fix a spot on the lower level. Anybody in particular, any other event in particular you guys are waiting to happen to do something?
Just waiting for the fixers to turn up.
Okay. There is a guy comes out and starts testing the microphones at the table, at the podium, and so on. Does the whole testing audio system thing, the techies adjusting stuff, doing all that. They do give a 15-minute warning. The place is starting to fill up. More and more people are starting to show up. Let me see here. No, that's not what I needed. That is the one I wanted. So the place is really starting to get, I know these aren't the best pictures, but they're just what I found quick. So the place is starting to fill up. There are, those first two rows actually are spattering. There's not a lot of people on those first couple of rows, actually, unlike this picture. This picture is actually, I'm going to get rid of this one. This one's too crowded. So, the place in the, as you get closer to the 1 o'clock time, is probably not even a third full, actually. But there are all kinds of people, all kinds of clothing, all kinds of fashion styles that are in here. You do see some people that are obviously Philharmonics. You find there's a whole group of, and it's interesting, each group is really clustered, and there's a little bit of space around each group. There's some mongrels that came into one side. There's several other gangs that are represented at this meeting. And as you, are you guys on stage at this point? As you're getting about 10 minutes to the start time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So around this time, the one of the fixtures you recognize from the club comes out, and I don't think we ever gave those guys names, did we?
No.
Give me just a moment. I'm going to do that. Let's see. So, one of the fellows that comes in, actually, we're going to do one more thing. Sorry about the delay there. Delay here. Get this in. So, like I said, one of the guys does walk in. It is one of the people you recognize that was at the club from your video you shot and all that stuff. This fella is wearing a very well-tailored suit, corporate suit. He is... Sorry, I'm trying to do three things while I'm talking, and I'm not succeeding very well. He appears to be... Where is it? I'm looking through my notes here. He actually appears to be kind of a darker, so basically from like the Pacific Islands type complexion. Okay. He is wearing a nice suit. He does have a couple of scars on one side of his face. As you walk up closer to him, it's not hard to see he actually has some scars down the tops of his hands as well.
Which type of Pacific island are we talking? Polynesian or Indonesian?
Polynesian.
Okay.
Polynesian. Fella's younger, you would guess 20s. And from the name, well, you don't know his name yet. You know that you saw the two name placards on the one table, but you don't actually know who this guy is yet. So, what you guys want to do?
I shall walk over towards him. And I'll prime one of the bugs on my left hand. And I'll, introduce myself. Good evening. I'm Stringer. You might remember the piece I did on the shooting at Club Hell.
He immediately turns to you. He's actually had just been talking to some other people just before you walked up. He's coming onto stage as you catch up to him there, or as you go to meet him. He says, Nolan Andor. You can call me Drew. Of course, I know who you are, Stringer. I did see your piece on the both on the event at the club, but you've had some other successes recently.
Yes, I've been in the right place a few times. I shall put my hand out to shake.
He will offer his hand in return. And do you have?
And then I'll
Yep.
move out my left hand in that politician style shake, where you're shaking with one hand and you touch the back of the hand and the suit jacket with the other, and that's when I'll place the bug.
So what skill do you have that you feel would help you in placing this?
I don't have anything like pickpocket or what have you.
Okay.
So I guess I'm going to have to try
pickpocket
and
would probably
wing it.
be it. So you're going to have to wing it. So we'll do a tech roll. And
Basic tech.
Well, just a straight the stat tech.
Yep.
And
tech, yep.
Yep, and it's going to be a minus. Oh, you already rolled it. That's okay. I'll take care of the other side.
Yeah, I fucked that up.
Did you? You didn't.
That's a one.
That's
Yeah,
a one. That's a fumble.
I forgot to take the luck to
Okay.
avoid
Well,
the
this-
one.
Well, this should be interesting. Let's see. You may be rolling your persuasion fast talk here in a second. Let's see what his. Let's see. This is going to be. So, you're talking, you're doing your introductions, and as you're leaning in to shake his hand, you start to bring your other hand out, which has the button concealed in it. It falls right out of your hand onto the stage. It makes a bit of a clattering noise on the stage, and it's pretty obvious what's happened here. That you have dropped something. It may not be obvious what it is yet. So he starts to notice it, and he says, "It seems you've dropped something," and like he's going to start to lean down to pick it up for you.
No, I'll bend down to pick it up. Thank you. It's a remote popper for my camera.
Persuasion fast talk.
I will use the 1 point of luck to avoid a fumble this time. But I'm quite good at that.
You definitely are.
Yeah, you did pretty well on that. Well, of course. What else? I'm not surprised you would want to record the meeting and even potentially get it out on the air. We're all for any kind of positive press, trying to get the area rebuilt, and he goes into this spiel, this very obviously very practiced spiel about about bringing the neighborhood back and doing it for the people. And if you don't say something, he's just going to keep talking about how the good press and whatever you can do to help, and maybe get some fund backers in to help with the rebuilding process, and he mentions something about the areas that are under construction, and he's not that he will say he's not familiar with who's doing this construction, but hopefully it's going to be positive for the neighborhood. It should all be good. He's just going to keep on going on about that, unless you interrupt him or stop him.
When he says that he doesn't know who's doing construction, I want to just measure him up when he goes over that. I've got that nice human perception.
Okay.
He's maybe.
Yeah,
now, are you Pac-Man? Are you wearing those goggles at this point?
I always am. They're just kind of part of the accoutrement.
Okay, then. Okay, so Stringer, you have fumbled yet again. Looks like, is that right? Yep, you sure did. On your attempt to persuade or human perception of is he lying? Is he trying to pull one over on you guys? You're talking about this, and Pac-Man, you also are trying to determine if he is, and as he has, Stringer, you are fascinated by what he has to say. Yeah. This is absolutely, you believe every word he's saying. There's no doubt he is completely 100% genuine. Pac-Man, you two, you don't. There doesn't. He sounds a little politician-ish, but he seems to believe what he's saying.
Yeah, he's a liar. He's a well-practiced liar.
If he's not telling the truth, he's really good at not telling the truth. Yeah. But Stringer, you're just completely fascinated by what he has to say. This absolutely is. There's 100%. There's no doubt he could be saying anything but the whole truth. But anything else? If you guys don't do so or want to talk to him something else, he is going to finish his spiel, separate himself, and head over to the table.
Yep, I will let him head over to the table. I have a plan.
Make a note here real quick. You have a plan. Okay. Give me a second.
I'll wait for the next guy.
Okay, so as if he was waiting for the other fella to go sit down before he made his appearance, so that he wouldn't be his own spotlight wouldn't be taken aback or shadowed by the other fella. The next person, once the first guy, Nolan, goes to sit down, the other guy almost immediately starts coming up on stage. This guy is a little bit older. This guy's you're going to take a wild guess and say he is in his 30s. This fella actually, does anybody have education as a skill or history as a specialty or anything like that, by the way?
I do have education.
Okay.
At 3.
That's right. You may... I'm sorry, Pac-Man, did you have something?
I had education at 2.
Okay, so you each may want to roll your education skills. You did. And you did it before I could even finish asking for it. Excellent. Okay. That is enough for both of you. This guy, he doesn't perfectly look it, but his face and his body type, his stature, and so on reminds you of someone from American history. He actually looks just a bit like Benjamin Franklin. Not a lot, not overly overtly, but he definitely reminds you of Ben Franklin.
Yeah, I think most people are used to seeing pictures of Franklin from when he was older.
Mm-hmm. And
probably because he couldn't afford a portrait when he was younger.
No, not doing, as a printer and so on. But let me see. I'll make another note here. Okay, so just to kind of remind you of, like I said, it's not like he's been sculpted to look just like or anything, but he definitely reminds you of Benjamin Franklin.
Yep.
And so as Stringer, you're going to walk up to this guy too, right?
Yep, I'm going to do the same routine.
Okay. So
this time I'm going to use that luck point.
Okay. So he speaks first. He says, "Stringer, I'm so glad you can make it. I heard you were going to be here today. Let me introduce you." And actually, he has a woman with him, very, very attractive woman. He introduces. Let me introduce you to my personal assistant here. This is Jennifer Brown, my assistant, my personal assistant. He kind of looks he doesn't wink at you, but you get the feeling he's winking at you without doing so,
Yep.
So you introduce you, and of course my name is Benjamin Amidula. Just call me Ben. Don't worry about it. Nobody pronounces my last name right. I'm not worried about it. Just call me Ben. And actually, as they're talking, 3 more women, all very attractive, come up behind him. And, yeah. So he actually is part of his entourage. That makes 4. The one he introduced as his assistant, the other he didn't comment to directly. And yeah, he says, "I'm so glad you could be here. I've seen some of your work, great coverage in your show. Congratulations on the success of that reality show, whatever it's called. That reality show that you had. I know you did an episode of. That was terrific."
Oh, NC Takedown.
And he says and he goes on and on. He's talking all about you and how great your stuff is, how great your this is and that is, and that stuff. And you're going to try again. You're going to use a point of luck this time and try to place it.
Well.
Right? As you shake, do the double.
There's
the forearm, to shake his hand, and the second hand under his elbow kind of thing or something like that, or under his hand, forearm, I mean.
Hang on.
Something of that nature.
Yes, that's a 10 because I'm using the +1 luck.
Okay. Addition, so you didn't. Yeah, I see that. Okay, so 10.
Just when he came up red, that was saying check.
Oh.
I thought that was another fumble, but it wasn't.
No. Yep. Okay. So you're 10 there. Okay. He just, he shakes your hand.
He's try and get help.
He makes no indication to you that he did or did not notice that there's anything going on there. You, as far as you can tell, you have attached that thing to his sleeve, right under his just back of his wrist, of the hand he's shaking your hand with. And like I said, he's just talking you up. He seems to know a lot about what you've been doing, your accomplishments, your real accomplishments of the last few weeks, your successes, all that. That is what he is doing. He will continue. Do you have anything particular you want to say to him, or anything else you want to do?
Well, I'll tell him to watch out for the coverage of tonight. I'll be doing something on that.
Okay.
Or this afternoon, rather.
Pac-Man, anything you want to do or say while they're having their conversation?
Actually,
okay.
When he introduced her as Jennifer Brown, it hit Pac up because he remembers Aaron Brown, the solo from the last job, and he looks at her and says, "Brown wouldn't happen to be related to an Aaron Brown, nice young man."
That was the. Oh, that's right. That's funny. Okay. Honestly, that I was
contact cards with.
That was just the name that popped in my head. I didn't actually. Okay. Let's see. Let's just do it this way. We'll do.
Packs of a conspiratorial mind, so it was just too much for him.
Of course.
It's a common name, but I believe in coincidences. I just don't trust them.
She says, "No, I don't believe I know who that is. Actually, no."
Jack smiles and goes, "Well, it's a common last name.
It is. It is.
The fine fellow I met recently, very honorable chap."
Mm. Well, good to meet you, she says. And she and she moves by two of the other three that were women behind him. Two of them move over to the table, and the one stays with him. And he is just continuing. He will break from talking up Stringer, and he will turn to shake your hand, Pac-Man, and start talking to you, and it becomes clear that he knows very little about you or what you've been doing, but he seems to be doing a great job of complimenting you and saying how great you are anyway.
I'll tell him that I appreciate the words of praise, but I'm just a man doing his job, helping Stringer out when I can. I'm just trying to play the cool semi-coy sort of gun for hire here.
Okay. So he does that. Whatever, just very positive and upbeat, and talks to you, shakes your hand for a couple minutes. The woman that's behind him taps him on the shoulder, says something, and he says, "Yep, you're right. Good to meet you both. Can't wait for your presentation." And he starts making his way over to the table.
Yeah. Well, Pac-Man's doing that. I want to walk over towards my seats behind the table, and as I get to where Nolan is, I'll just suddenly stop and say, and I'll say to him, "Excuse me, Nolan, your collar's rolled up at the back. May I?"
Oh, of course. Oh, thank you. I appreciate you catching that.
And I'll make the motions of folding it down, and while I'm doing that, I'll slip the bug under his collar.
Roll it again.
On the right-hand side, which should be his... And I'll use the 1 point this time.
Well, it's a good thing you did.
Yep, it's merely an 8 rather than a... Oh, dear.
Okay. He kind of tries to look behind him as you're doing that, but obviously he can't turn his head all the way around or anything. But he gives you kind of a nod. Well, thanks. Appreciate you fixing that for me. And goes back to looking.
Problem. I'll pass him on the shoulder and walk off.
He's got a pad in front of him. He starts going over it. Going over notes or going over whatever. Who knows what might be on there.
Oh, one quick question. If I have to make a luck roll based on the stat, does that now have -3 to it because I've used 3 luck points or not? Or is the stat still the same?
Anytime... the stat doesn't... Make sure I understand what you're asking. The luck stat Now let me see how to answer the question, because apparently I'm not being clear. Like you've rolled tech, for example, you've rolled tech a couple of times. It doesn't affect your tech stat one way or the other. It only affected that roll. You've used
it's the actual
however
luck roll,
many.
I've used 3 luck points.
So yes, you can put a -3 on there, and that's just a way to keep track of it.
Yep.
It's I don't know.
Just when I put -3 in there to keep track of it, it's now lowered my luck by 3.
Right, and that's okay. It's just you're keeping track of it. It does lower your stat by that. I'm trying to think. I think I've only ever had a couple of cases where I actually asked a player to roll their luck stat. Usually, and pretty much always, it's just a way to keep track of, and you're using it toward your other rolls.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
There's one purpose for the luck stat in a game besides like fiat for house ruling, and that's if your character plays the lotto.
Right. Well, that's true. If you do that depends if you gamble. If you have gambling skill, I should say, potentially. But you may roll a gamble.
Gambling for the lotto. It's only games of skill, not games of chance.
Yeah.
I'll go with that. I agree with that. So there you go. There's your answer.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, I might buy a lottery ticket on the way home then.
Well, there is the Night City Body Lotto. If you guys are familiar with that, that is a. Oh, I am sorry, guys. Give me one moment. I need to apologize. A call just came up that I've got to take real quick. Give me just a moment. I'll be right back.
Yeah. No worries. My old ref, Austin, used to do a cool thing with luck where you could burn 2 points permanently to, if you took a mortal wound, you'd still get messed up, like it'd blow off an arm, blow off a leg, but you'd be stabilized at 1 HP left at the end of combat instead of, having your heart stop and you die. That was pretty cool. So I've adopted that use of luck when I play with my friends, but that's, house rules.
Yeah, I haven't played Cyberpunk since the first few years it came out. Which would have been late 80s, early 90s. Late 80s, I think.
Yeah, I've been playing since I was 13. So that would have been 98.
Yeah.
So about 20 years.
I actually prefer Shadowrun, but still enjoy Cyberpunk.
I cannot get into Shadowrun. It's just too much technical. I like the simplicity of Cyberpunk more.
Mm.
Ugh. Holy mackerels. I ran a comb through my hair and a couple of silver hairs just ripped right out.
Yeah. Well, in case nobody's warned you, at some stage in your life, you will find a silver pube.
Oh, no, I found that when I was like 14. Yeah. I've had gray hairs my whole life.
Yeah. I found my first one when I was about 40.
Yeah, they usually are stiffer in my head and hang in longer than others, but this one just let go, just stark white. Crazy. It's the kids, I tell you. It's the kids. They're doing it to me. They're accelerating the aging.
Yeah. Well, mine, almost went grey one afternoon. I'd had my hair long for ages and decided to have it, taken down to very little. And what grew out was almost entirely greys. I went from being brown to grey almost instantly. But,
oh, yeah, because they'd been turning over time, but since your hair was so long, you didn't notice because it was right at root level. And then when you get some growth on it, it's shocking. Yeah, I can understand that.
And I am back.
It is.
Yeah.
Oh, welcome back.
Oh, sorry for the interruption there.
I grew them long again because it now has the wizard look.
Very nice.
That's it. Okay. Apologize about that, guys. I had to jump out for a minute. But so let's see, where were we here? Both the fixers are at the stage. You now do have a bug on each of those two guys, Nolan and Ben. Drew, which Nolan Andor is the one guy, goes by Drew, and then Benjamin Midula, and goes by Ben. So you do have a deal on both of them. Let's see, the one guy has the three.
Yeah, when you say his name, it makes me think medulla oblongata.
Yeah.
I can't for the life of me remember what the medulla oblongata is.
But it sounds good.
Yeah.
No.
The center of the brain responsible for aggression.
Yeah. I'm probably in denial about mine.
So let's see. So those guys are seated. Just completely threw me off having to walk away there. Talk about breaking immersion. All right. So we got those guys seated. Far as you okay, so on Nolan, as far as you know, you did get that planted under his collar as you wanted to do. Nolan is looking at a notepad. Ben is talking. He has two of them have gone to sit just off stage on that side. The other two, excuse me, are still, including Jennifer, are still standing right there next to him, and the three of them are talking right there. No one has still sat at the other 4 seats at the table. They've remained empty at this point. Somebody comes up to the microphone and does say that we've got 3 minutes to the start of the meeting. And there's a bunch of, like I said, I said before, there are a bunch of gangs represented. It's a odd mix of such a well organized, almost like a shareholders meeting kind of vibe, but at the same time, most of the people out in the crowd are gang members. There's probably 200 or 300 people out there altogether, 400 people maybe. Vast majority of them are grouped together. Obviously, the gangs are all grouped together with each other. And then there's just a splattering of just other people out in the crowd. Anything before the meeting, anything else you guys want to do or say or look for or whatever before the meeting starts? And we're not going to roll. I'll say we're not going to play out the entire meeting. I'm just going to go over it and then, of course, your presentation. But go ahead.
Yep. Well, I shall put my headset on to film, anything specific that I need to look at, not just the general view from the fixed camera. Okay.
Pac-Man, anything else you want to do or whatever before it starts?
No, I'm good. I will just stick next to Stringer.
Okay. So just before that, there's actually somebody, a page, you might say, starts walking around, starts handing out an agenda, hands it to everybody on the stage. It's actually looks kind of like a scream sheet. It's just a piece of a real thin plasticky substance with a whole list of stuff on it. And there's actually some stuff about contributions to the association and budgeting, things like that. And there's a few other presentations on it. There's a place, a general contractor or builder wants to do a presentation and try to get some business from the association, from the assembled group. And of course your presentation is on there. You're about the 4th or 5th item down on this list. And as you're going over that, actually the house lights change, come down. The house lights in general come down. Spotlights come on, and the stage is not completely darkened, but it is the area that's not in focus is lower light. If it lower, not lit as well. Yeah, anyway, you know what I mean. Um, let's see. So, guy comes up to the microphone and starts talking. Says he's going to be handling the chair. Basically, we're going to do this. He says I will pass the who's going to be able to speak at what time. We are going to limit speakers. There'll be a point where we can do questions and comments from anyone. Goes into some other things like that. They start going down the list. They talk about some budget stuff. Apparently, there is a proposal to raise the contribution from the associated businesses, which the crowd kind of doesn't like. But there's a presentation about that and what they're going to do with it, that they want to do some more advertising to try to bring both more businesses and more regular people in to see the shows and so on for the whole neighborhood. Some other stuff like that. It goes down the list. Contractor, construction, general contractor, construction contractor comes in. He wants to do. He does a whole thing about how great a job he can do for anybody that needs any work. Anyway, a few things like that. And so far, nothing exciting is happening. It's a rather boring kind of meeting. As this goes on for about 30 minutes, a few people actually get up and leave. Some of the gang members leave, although it's not like the whole group, if any particular gang leaves, but a few members here and there are leaving, and actually some more people come in. And then it's time for Stringer to do his presentation. The guy that's doing the MC job or whatever, he says, now it's time. We've got a scheduled presentation from Stringer. He says there's some information that's pertinent to the neighborhood as a whole that he wanted to make sure everybody knew about, wanted to talk about. So, Stringer, the stage is yours.
Okay. Good evening, ladies, gentlemen. Are there any mongrels in the place? You said there were, wasn't there?
Oh, yeah, there are.
Yeah. Hound dogs.
Oh, you get a big cheer from that group. And there's some murmurs from another part of the crowd.
We've all seen the Robert Roberts signs going up. We've all seen the buildings being demolished. Some of us were there when the Juilliard building was blown up with the Juilliards in place. We saw the bodies laid out on the street, and then we saw the goons come around afterwards. I'm sure many of you have had approaches from Arasaka people offering to buy you out. And as you're still here, I assume you've said no. Well, the other day, we came across a chip. And on that chip, there was some details of the plans that they have for Charter Hill and the combat zone. I'll start the slideshow, or, well, you know, there's not going to be slides, but...
the presentation.
The presentation.
Well, there it is. Okay.
Here is the area they want to buy up. And that will show the whole of Charter Hill and that chunk of the combat zone. So that affects every one of us here.
So, as you're bringing that image up, somebody from the crowd somebody jumps up from the crowd, starts running down that center aisle up toward the stage. They have a weapon drawn, a handgun, and they are running toward the stage, full out. Some of the other security are trying to come in to intercept him, but they haven't yet. Anybody want to do anything?
Well, I shall reach for my gun.
Yeah, sure. I'll try to restrain him with that great Aikido we were doing last time.
Oh, this guy's still on the main aisle coming up toward the stage. You guys are up on the
Oh
stage.
well, then I'll just walk into the way and just body block from the stage and just nod at Stringer as I sit up,
Right.
just to let
The
him know I will handle this if the guy comes up to the stage itself.
Okay, then I've pulled my gun just in case, but I shall now use the gun as a pointer instead of my finger, and I shall carry on.
There is. Let's see what. See. That's no okay. So
I just got to Arisaka making office.
As he was running up there are security guards, Western Stars from each side. Security tackles the guy, and they drag him off to one side. He gets 2 rounds off, but they don't hit anything or anybody as far as anybody can tell, and he gets dragged off.
Well, you can't please everybody. Oh, put my gun back in the holster. But it's important to look good while I'm doing it.
So
now I'll carry on with
you're gonna continue.
All the plans that have been made so far have been made in the name.
Sorry to interrupt you again. However, as you say that, as you're continuing your presentation, you made a joke. There was some good positive response. Some people chuckled or whatever, and all the lights in the building go out, or at least all the lights out in the house, all the stage lights, all the power seems to just go out completely.
Shit.
It gets really quiet for a couple seconds. You start to see flashlights come up in the crowd. The 4 women that were with Ben come over suddenly and kind of surround him. Nolan is looking kind of confused. You guys want to do anything yet?
Switch over to low light.
Yeah. I'm gonna take a quick look at the women surrounded Ben, right?
Yep.
I'm going to take a quick looky-loo at him, see whether or not he looks like he's startled by this, or whether or not this is just one of those just as planned moments.
Okay. Perception? Human perception, I mean? Yeah, no, he's pretty surprised. He's not sure that he's got that kind of a shocked. He was paying attention to the presentation. Just like it's out of nowhere. It's a surprise to him as much as anybody else.
Okay.
Low light, you will notice there are a bunch of people pulling guns. Almost everybody in the theater, out in this crowd, everywhere are pulling weapons. Talking about what's going on. Noise levels going up and up and up. And you guys want to wear your roll awareness notice each.
Yep.
Okay. Do you remember Stringer? Pac-Man, when you weren't there yet. The guys all in black that came into the apartment building. The ninjas.
Yep.
There are a number of them, a large number of them, that are coming in. They're circulating through the crowd. And there's been no shots have been fired quite yet. But these guys are sneaky. They're coming in from each side. Let's see. Yeah, you both see them. Both catch this with your low light. And each of the gangs seem to be about to start shooting. All the groups out here are going to look like they're about to start shooting. Some of the people have kind of crouched down behind the seats, taking cover. Some people are trying to run out the doors. There's panic is setting in.
Yeah. I'm down, assume a firing position, and I'm going to call out as loud as I can, because I'm assuming that my microphone that I was using for the presentation is no longer working.
Power's up, yeah. All the power's out, yep.
Yeah, I'm going to shout, the guys in black are Arasaka. Don't shoot each other.
Okay. Are you doing anything, Pac-Man?
Yeah, I'm tossing a flashlight to, because I've got the two spare on my belt. Tossing, or rolling across the table, one to the secretary, Miss Brown, because she probably is not as good in a fight as the other ones who are obviously bodyguards are. And then pointing up at where they are so she can eliminate them for the guy's other bodyguards.
Okay. Well, there's like
just saying,
dozen...
up there, ma'am.
Yeah. These guys that are in, and you weren't in the game yet. These guys are in very classic ninja-looking outfits. You know, the gis, they've got the mask, the black thing covering their entire face. They look like stereotypical ninjas. And they're everywhere. You look around and there's several over here, they're over there, they're up on the balcony, they're all over the place. And as you're doing that, you're passing out, and shooting starts in the crowd. There are guns firing start going off everywhere. So we can go ahead and do initiative.
Yep.
You didn't think you'd really get through your whole presentation without any issue, did you?
No, but I thought I'd be faster than that. But if it's ninja time, then it's big gun time.
Oh, are ninjas not squishy? The ninjas go down hard?
Oh, we didn't?
I don't know. They did go down before, but I just want to be certain.
Or is not today. Yeah, that's fair. We're going to have to throw our character tokens onto this on the GM layer or something. Or not GM layer, but on the corner.
Yeah, you drag your... Yep, exactly.
So we can add turns, but we'll give it a shot.
Go ahead and try it again.
Wow.
Now that you're... Oh, jeez.
Everybody rolled a 1.
Yeah.
Damn. Oh, come on now. Trying to get you added. Now we just have to... What am I missing? Did you do your token and then roll it thing?
Well, if we get to a reroll.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead and re-roll if you didn't. Yeah, because the tokens weren't out yet, so that's fine.
I'm still not out.
No, I don't get much better than that.
We're going to need to drag you up to Sweden soon. They do wonders with their clinics up there, because you could use some extra reflex, friend.
So, Pac-Man, did you drag your token out, or do I need to?
Where am I going to pull it from?
You should be able to pull it just from your... Oh, here. There. Try to see if that's enough to let you do your initiative again.
Oh, yeah, that's it. Yep. That will do it for me.
Let's see, where is... There he is.
Oh, I got a nat 10 that time. Critty, baby. I'm all over the map.
And
out of the rafters,
we'll do... that one. Okay, so yes, it's pandemonium. There's crap going on everywhere. There's gunshots going off everywhere. It's pretty bad. We've got, let's see. So you guys don't even, Bullet is, yes, he's here someplace. You don't see him. So who is next? Who's my 20?
That would be me.
Oh, that is you.
Although I did
Okay,
roll the
so
crit.
let's see. So what are you doing? Yep, you got your natural 10 on that. But what are you doing? It's a mess.
Draw it.
I mean, it's just a mess.
Drawing out the handguns, and the handguns are drawn, so I'm going to look at string it. The ninjas are the bad guys, yes?
Yes.
Well then, it looks like 4 ninjas need to meet 4 bullets.
So there are some in the balcony, there's some in the lower area, there's none on the stage yet at this point, but they're everywhere, it seems like.
Are there any between us and a convenient stage exit?
No, actually there's none on the stage. I mean, the stage exits are to the left and right, and as far as you can see at this point, there are none on the stage or on the backstage area there.
Well, then I will start plucking away at the closest 4 on the lower section.
Okay. We get... Where is...
Since these are all individual shots again, I'll just roll the handguns here. I'm fairly certain that at least that 10 is a very dead person.
So...
I'm sorry, Mr. Dodgy. I also rolled a 10, and I was much higher than you.
Yes, but on... Yeah, let's see. I usually do Defender wins, though. On natural 10s.
Even if for both natural 10s, and I rolled
if they're both
way higher than him.
We'll give you... We're going to give you this one. We'll come up with how we're going to handle that going forward. But right now, yes, you hit that guy for sure. The other, let's see, your first one's a 29 versus 22. Your third one is a... Oops, I missed one. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 21 versus 29. The last one. So basically, you have hit on all 4. Are you going for 4? You said you were going for 4 different ones, right? Yep. Yeah. So you got... Yep.
1, 2,
okay.
3, and 4.
I see that. That works.
I'm just going to roll 4 d10s for the hit locations, if you don't mind.
It's fine.
So we got 2, 6, 9, 6. Or 2, 7, 9, 6.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. And these didn't do damage. Okay, yeah, because you didn't roll. You rolled your handgun skill. You didn't roll the weapon itself, so it doesn't do damage, or it didn't do damage.
No, because the weapon only targets one person. It doesn't do the.
Right.
It doesn't do the.
Okay.
So I gotta roll individually for each person. And are these folks armored or unarmored?
They're all wearing all black from this distance and stuff. Well, you could try doing awareness or something and see if you could tell. It's not really obvious, one way or the other.
Well, they're DP rounds, so it's very obvious as soon as it hits the flesh.
So let's do this. So we got 24 is to torso. That's going to be okay, good enough. That. And we're going to, let's see, 13, 22.
It hits armor, armor is halved, and the damage after it punches armor is halved. If there's no armor, damage is times 1.5.
Okay, those 4 targets that you hit each of them fall from where they are. They are now either, from your perspective, they either have fallen unconscious or they have at least gone down behind the seats where you can't see them. And that is your thing. So there are some of them. There are some of these guys out there, and some of these ninjas that seem to be trying to attack, that are attacking. Some with all seem to be using swords, as far as you can see, and they're just attacking whoever they're nearest. It would appear. Some are hitting, some are not. Some are doing more damage than others. Stringer, what you gonna do?
Are there any close enough to the stage so that I can basically run over to the edge of the stage and hopefully get within point blank?
There are not going to be any within point blank. They're all at least there's an area for like an orchestra pit type area, and then there's the seats. So they would have to be in that pit area, which there aren't any.
Well, in that case, I'll move over, and there's obviously a drop between the stage and the floor, so I'll shoot down at one, hoping that it will be in a difficult position for him to attack back.
Okay.
And I shall... Natural 10.
Damn.
Oh no, that 10, then that natural was on the damage.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I just saw the green and thought, way.
Yeah. Okay, the one you were shooting, you actually missed him.
Yep.
Missed him by a good amount. Actually. He, the guy you're aiming at ducks down and weaves between the seats, and you blow. But one of these seats, the seat just explodes. The whole back of the seat's gone. There's stuffing, the padding from the seats puffing up, going everywhere. Yeah, you killed that seat. That seat will never attack you again.
Yep.
Okay. So that is your round. At the end of the combat, at the end of this combat round, okay, all of the lights in the entire theater, the stage lights, the house lights, everything, it's been almost dark. The only lights, there's been a few flashlights out. Some people are using their phones for lights, whatever, that kind of stuff. But all of a sudden, all of the lights in the building come up at their full bright. House lights come up to full. So all the stage lights, all the spotlights, everything comes up to full power. So
I'll switch my low light off.
Well, the effect of this, it comes up to full, and it's almost like a what do you call it? Flashbang type grenade, almost, because it comes up to full power. And let me see if he does, if it works.
And my anti-dazzle will protect me. I hope.
Okay, high enough. All those lights start about every second and a half. They go off and they come back on, and they go off. They're strobing. So you guys both have anti-dazzle?
Yep.
Okay. So your anti-dazzles kick in. You are not affected by that. However, it is very difficult to see what's going on. But you're not completely stunned, at least, for sure. That's right. I don't have... That's what I'm going to have to do. I'm going to have to start doing some combat music, right? Going here. So, yes, the house light strobe. Let me see. It's the end of the round. That happens. There are guns going off. I mean, it's like there are hundreds of different weapons going off at the same time. Is what it's like. Just different calibers. There's a couple of SMGs going off, so you get the in a few places. There's one spot out there. Somebody's using freaking tracer rounds. It looks like. You get a bunch of rounds come out. Got to be 20 or 30 or 40 rounds, and you can see the trail from where the gun is to where they hit. They actually hit a part of the seats, and at this point don't catch fire, but they are smoldering. So yeah, it's a mess. And let's see, we can roll initiative again.
That's better.
Hey, there you go.
I would have rather had that 10 when I'm shooting someone, though.
Yeah, you're bad at shooting, though, so I'd rather have it now where you can inspire these people to get the hell out before they burn the place down.
Oh, wait, close the... Really? Close the sheet. Where is he? Where is he? There. Just using this as an idea of where they go. Oh well, that's weird. Okay, so you've still seen no indication of where Bullet is or what he's doing. Which is very hard to see what's going on because these lights, all the lights of building are just going on and off, and especially being up on stage, all the spotlights, all the colored lights, all the various lights you have for a stage production are going on and off and on and off. So it's you're not dazzled, you're not stunned or anything like that, but it is kind of hard to see what's going on. You're getting flashes of what's going on out there in the crowd. A gunshot here or whatever there. However, it seems like you are seeing fewer and fewer of the ninjas. Every time there's a flash of light again where you can see out into the crowd, there had been like a dozen of them over here. Now there's only a couple. And there had been 3 or 4 over here, but now you don't see any of these ninjas over here. So that's what's happening out in the crowd. So Stringer, you are actually first. Well, other than the stuff I just described.
Yep. I shall look for a ninja target close to me.
Okay, awareness notice. Because this flashing is making it very difficult to pick out anything in particular, you know. Okay. You spot one. So the guys that were down here that Pac-Man shot at last time, it's hard to tell at this point, other than maybe trying to track a wound or something. It's hard to tell one from the other. All these guys look almost exactly alike. Okay? But
Yep.
there is one that's just almost in front of the first, almost in the pit area. They're in front of the first row of seats. That's the one you pick out. You don't see some of them do have wounds. Some of them are bleeding. Pac-Man will let you know ahead of time. It's going to be very difficult to pick out from your perspective, your vantage point, and so on, to try to shoot at the same ones you shot at last time.
Yep, well, I'll shoot at whichever one's closest.
But that's going to be this guy right up here at the front.
Yep.
So go ahead and roll it. Sorry.
$16 to hit. Plenty of damage, but...
Let's see if you hit. Oops. You did not hit him.
Yep.
As you shoot at him, again you hit part of the steps and the floor here, right here where he was going. He runs off to the side over here and disappears. As you're trying to shoot him. So that's yours.
In that cage, I might well head over towards the edge of the stage in case he comes up.
As far as you can tell, the women blocking Ben, they have started to move him toward the exit, toward the backstage on that side. Nolan sitting there still seems a bit dumbfounded. He has not gotten up from his seat. He has not done anything. But he's deer in the headlights. And some of the other people that were in the seats over with you, some of those people have run off stage. Some of them are taking cover behind chairs or behind other stuff that's on the back of the stage here. Some of them have fired off into the crowd, just as you guys are doing. Pac-Man, what you gonna do?
If I had a hurdy-gurdy, I'd play it. But, I look to Stringer and quickly, because I've only got a few words that don't count as an action,
7,
get
yep.
Nolan out of here.
Will do.
And then I proceed to start trying to yell above the din, because now I'm having a flashback, and it is just my element. If you could see the pants tightening, the pants are tightening. If you can't see, you can hear the pants are tightening. As Pac-Man stands at the center of the aisleway up to the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Right about there.
You gonna jump down
akimbo, and just yelling orders to everybody, because this is what you used to.
Yep.
Men of Charter Hill South, put your backs to the stage and defend it. Keep your faces towards the enemy and stop putting rounds into things that can burn. Make your shots count and make your presence known. Do I get my tactics bonus to that?
Yes. Do it.
Then that is a 9.
A what? I'm sorry? What does that make it?
A 29 on the lead.
A 29. Gotcha.
29 total.
Okay. So, let's see. All right. There's a group of the mongrels that were down here. They will actually form up and come up and start heading toward the stage, like they're just following the order. There is a group of the Western Stars that seems to be doing the same thing. They're coming. There's actually a group over on this side and over here. The mongrels were somewhere in this section. but they're all heading, and actually some of the other people from the crowd, just that were out in the crowd, they are heading toward the stage. Some of them, most of the, let me actually, let's see. Okay, yep. A lot of the majority of the random firing out there has ceased, and they are in just groups are heading up to the stage to your call. Yeah. So you've done you seem to have taken charge of the situation.
Good.
End of this round. End of this round is you've got multiple groups heading toward the stage following what you requested. Some groups are still out there completely ignoring what you ordered, completely ignoring you, still firing. There are the house lights, all those lights go back to black, all go out, no light at all. And then almost just as suddenly the house lights come up to normal. The stage lights come back to what they were. Basically, all the lights come back to what they were before this whole mayhem started. So the house lights are low but not out. The stage lights, there's a spot on the podium at the front, which is where Pac-Man is. You're just in front of that spot, or in front of the podium, I mean. But you're in the spotlight there. The lights on the table, on the other chairs off to the other side. All the lights come back to what they were before this all started. And at your first notice glancing around, you're not seeing any ninjas at this point. If you want to go ahead and roll initiative again, and you can do whatever you do on your initiative, actually.
10 on the initiative again.
Natural 10 again. For initiative, it's just a 10. But, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, Bullet, actually, you see him coming in from back here, from that main door, coming up the aisle. And he kind of gives you the wave and is heading your way as well. So that would be 18 stringers. Between you guys, stringers first. The group, Ben's group, they are completely off stage and headed out a back door. Stringer, what you doing?
I'm going to head off with Ben in case the ninjas are waiting outside to ambush anyone.
You're going to head out the door with Ben and the
Yep.
women?
I'm going to stand in the doorway and hold the door open in case it's one of those, the push bar exits.
Mm-hmm.
Open just from pressure of pushing the bar. Because if it closes behind me, I can't get back.
Well, the Ben and the women are going to hit the door and be out just in front of you, so you'll be coming up right behind them.
Yep.
So you're going to be there, hold the door open, see what's that. Nolan, let's give him a chance here. Okay, yeah, he's finally aware of the situation, kind of rubbed his eyes some, and is bolting for that door. So he's going to be right behind you and running all out, headed for that door, getting out of there. Let's see, Bullet is headed down the main aisle. Okay, Pac-Man, what you doing next?
Gonna continue giving commands to everybody here to hold the stage, make sure that nobody and when we are ready, everybody's in place, we will slowly sweep through and clear the room.
Okay. You probably want to do an awareness notice roll.
Yeah, I probably will do that first. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Let's throw a Lucky Lou into this too. Lord knows, now's the time when I roll my 1.
Well, that's pretty good. 10. Or your 10. Okay, so the ninjas that were up in the balcony that you'd seen last have mostly all gone. There's actually, with that roll, there's actually one, you can see him on ropes climbing up into the ceiling and into the superstructure where the lighting and stuff is up here on top. And as you look up, as you see them, they are disappearing out access points to the roof. As you're watching, you see them disappear. These guys that are on the bottom here, one of them, as you're watching, goes and hits over to this side, and hits an access door that's in the front front edge of the stage, and is gone. And a group of 2 or 3 of them on this side do the same thing, but another access door that's on this side, and they're under the stage. You, other than you seeing these guys having left, you don't see any more of them out there in the crowd. You do see a whole lot of injured people. Lots and lots. There are... You rolled really well, so let's see. There are 22. You can see 22 injured and on one knee or collapsed people out here. There are a bunch more that are winged or something that are still up on their feet, still moving around, but obviously have some kind of injury to some extent. The groups that I mentioned before have all made it to the front of the stage. And those the ninja types that escaped under the stage, it's like they were weaving their way through those groups. And, one of them would try to reach down to grab one of them or try to get into combat with them, but he just slipped through their fingers and got out.
Okay.
So
it looks like they're escaping as fast as possible.
They're getting out of there.
Then I might want to modify my commands then.
Okay.
Then it'll be, once they get here, I will look amongst them and congratulate them on driving them out. But now is the time for caution, safety, and recovery. Men of Charter Hill South, grab your fellows from the crowd. It does not matter their allegiance today, for today we stand against the same enemy. Get them out front and out from undercover. Protect them while we call for help. Make sure that no man dies here unnecessarily.
Roll that leadership skill.
Aiming real toughy.
Damn. Okay.
And
go ahead.
For 'em.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, Pac-Man, are you still doing something? Or looking something?
No, that would be everything. That would be my...
Oh, okay.
I'm
sorry.
Running over and holding the door open for people expecting him to follow with me. I'll nod to Bullet as I pass him.
So, of the 5 groups that initially were following your order and heading to the stage, 3 of them continue to do so and are just like, they're going to do what you say. You got them. 2 of them are more hanging at, or have stopped going straight to the stage. They're checking the place out. They are making. They're gonna start searching for whatever they can search for. They're going aisle to aisle, that kind of stuff. Not doing what you said per se.
Yeah, not helping the wounded, but they're checking out their own place, basically.
They're right. The Western Stars group, all the Western Stars are now there's like 36 of them now. Good percentage of them are following what you're saying. The rest are searching the place. All of the security people are searching. There are, let's see. Yeah, okay. There are a few that seem to be attempting medical aid. You actually spot out there in the crowd, Doc Ock, the guy you met the other day, is out there. He does not have 4 arms, though. He is wearing kind of an oversized doctor's smock kind of thing, but he only has the 2 arms that you'd normally expect somebody to have. But he does have a big cowl over his face with 5 eyes on it. But you recognize him. You know it's him. There's no doubt that's him, even without the extra arms. But he's rendering aid. He's trying to help people. And yeah, there's some people really in bad shape out there. So are you gonna head outside then with the group you ordered to go outside?
Yeah, the group I ordered to grab the wounded, get them outside if they can.
Okay. Yep, they're doing it. So you got some people helping people. Basically, we're out of combat at this point anyway. It was a mess. It wouldn't be difficult for Pac-Man for you to figure out. The entire purpose of this thing was to cause mayhem and get the crowd to shoot at each other.
Mm-hmm. And as soon as I galvanized the crowd and got them to stop doing it, everybody was like, oh, screw me in the half, and left.
They left. They bolted. Yep. The table that was down here with Stringer's camera on it and the projector and some other gear for the presentations and so on. The techie that was helping Stringer earlier, he is there, but he is on the ground. He is bleeding pretty profusely. Yeah. That's what's happening. They're getting the people out. Ninjas appear to be gone. If you do get outside, let's see, how long has it been? Six, okay. Yeah. You start to hear within another minute or two, unless you guys do something else in particular. So Stringer, you're out the door with the fixers out that direction. Pac-Man, you're doing a good job of controlling the crowd. There's a good percentage of them. They'll do what you want them to. Still.
If they're on their side, put their head back in because there's carnage to film.
Okay. Pac-Man, are you doing anything else at this point?
Just directing the recovery as much as I can.
Okay.
Keeping an eye out front.
I'm sorry, keeping an eye out what?
Holding the front door, keeping an eye out,
Okay. Bullet's following your lead. He will help people out, get some of the wounded out, do all that stuff. You do start to hear that familiar sound of AVs. How many? 3, round down. So 3 AV4s are coming in. If you're outside, you'll see it with the Trauma Team logo on them.
Well, then I will instruct everybody who's listening to keep their guns holstered while Trauma Team's here.
Wow, okay, same roll. There are actually, this is the exciting part, from the northeast, you're seeing 3 Trauma Team AVs are heading in. They're in formation, 1 up front, the 2 behind them. They're coming in toward this way. From the northwest, there are 3 more AVs coming in, but these have the red and black logo or paint job of REO Mate Wagon. And they are all headed to this event.
Everyone's a client somewhere.
Yep. So, and they're all headed in. You're also hearing some ground vehicles, some sirens and stuff coming in from the ground. And if you guys don't do something else, the Trauma Team will come in. They will pull their people out that they've got membership or contracts for. REO comes in. There's going to be a standoff between REO and Trauma Team because, you know, they don't like each other. Let's see.
Well, I'm going to film I'm going to film all of this, and during the standoff, I'm going to hope some idiot's going to open fire.
Both groups actually do seem to hold their cool. They are able to take care of their respective clients and take off and head back out. Nothing happens between them. REO actually, a few ground vehicles end up coming in from REO and carting some people out, people who don't have quite a high enough membership to warrant AVs, get carted out. So about a dozen people get called off by one service or the other. And it is a scene, though. There are bodies all over the place. Some people have just left. A bunch of people have just left. There's some that obviously aren't moving. Yeah, it's a mess. The fixers are gone. Both of them. And their groups are gone. The Western Stars are starting to get control of things again. Pac-Man, are you doing anything else in particular?
Pray everyone for their solid and keeping that who was working with me. Other than that, you know.
Okay. So Western Stars.
As soon as Western Stars get the building back under control, I'm just kind of gonna let them hold their building and start directing people trying to get vehicles together to get the wounded who didn't have any memberships to local hospital. I know it's not as good as anything else, but you know.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll save a life.
Doc Ock makes a few deals. He actually, you'll notice, if you're as the Trauma Team groups come in, he actually has a patch he puts over the side of his coat and a bigger one that goes across his back. He is actually, as the Trauma Team people, AVs came in, he's wearing Trauma Team logo. And he actually ends up flying back out with one of the AVs.
Who is?
Doc Ock does.
That is a curse name. Every time you say it, you get a robo, but I got it, Doc Ock.
Oh, yes, yeah. He, at some point, as the Trauma Team AVs are coming in, he gets his patches on, he gets his ID out, that kind of stuff, his lanyard, his ID, his stuff, and he ends up flying back out with one of the AVs.
That's weird. That's so weird because his little contact card says he works for REO Meat Wagon. Pac-Man is very confused now.
It has been a couple of days. Or it could be that the ref made a mistake, and so now he's apparently changed companies.
See, Pac-Man was thinking it might be that Doc Ock is a duplicitous mother who works and moonlights for both.
Well, it could be that too. It could be that too. It could be that as well. Who knows? It will say Trauma Team were the ones that showed up first. They did actually hit the ground first. So there is that.
That's why you pay the premium.
That's right. So there's that. That could be too. So, unless you guys have something else particular you want to do, the afternoon goes on. People get carted off to clinics and so on. REO ground vehicles actually pick up several people and leave, and come back and pick up some more people and leave. You get, at some point after a while after this, another trauma team AV comes in by itself and picks somebody up and this person up and leaves. It's somebody probably upgraded, decided they weren't going to wait for help and paid them more money, or made a single contract pickup call. But it goes on for the afternoon. Western Stars do get control of the building again. Most of the gangs, if they didn't end up going to a clinic or somewhere, have left. The place is starting to clear out.
Well, once the place starts to clear out, I'm going to go back over to where I was doing the audio-visual presentation.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'll continue with some of my spiel, but only edited highlights. Basically saying, it's all these demolished properties appear to be in the name of Robert Roberts, but we know they haven't got the resources.
So you're going to continue your presentation. There's
someone there. This is just from my. There's no one there. This is for my film.
Oh, okay. I make sure I understood what you were doing. Okay.
Then I'm going to click on to the picture of the plan.
Yeah.
Where it's the main central building, retail, and all the other stuff. I'll say, and this is why everybody died today. Plans for the world's biggest retail unit, along with residential buildings, parking, Cineplex, the other stuff that's on there.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who has the resources to build something like this? And that'll be the end of my presentation. Then, because there's lots of blood and gore and death in this one, I'm going to head home and I'm going to edit it, and I'm going to turn it into the second episode of NC Takedown.
Another episode for them.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, they did. I think they did tell you they were looking for more. So.
Yeah, they did.
Yep. So okay. They are interested. So.
Pac-Man hopes that Stringer got that whole speech thing to get everybody to stop fighting and get the ninjas out.
Oh yeah, I never stopped filming.
Yeah, he had the headset on the whole time. Now the tech for the Western Stars is died. He's gone. He's dead.
Yeah. So I'll have to get a copy of the the recordings off someone else.
You will find out, contacting the Western Stars, whether you did it on site or afterwards. All of the recordings for the meeting, all of it has been wiped. There's none of it. The stuff that was on your camera there, because your camera is not on their network, it's not connected to anything else, your camera was functioning.
Yep.
But the other recordings, all the other cameras, all the other mics they have set up, the stuff they do for all their shows, none of that, all their recordings of that stuff are gone, like they didn't happen.
Okay, in that case, I'll make them a copy from the camera that was pointing at the
podium.
The podium and the guys at the table, and I'll make them a copy. I'll send them a copy of my raw footage once I finish the editing.
Okay. At that, let's see, that'll happen.
It's good because I was sending it back to my home computer.
Well, you didn't mention that before. You mean you were doing it during the show? You hadn't mentioned that before the show, before you started.
I was just under practice now.
Okay. Well, it's okay. You got
the Arasaka people.
I understand.
Snaffle my camera.
Your camera, your headset, and your other camera that was on that was facing the podium, you didn't lose anything anyway, in any case. But like I said, all the Western Stars equipment, nothing recorded anything. Or you didn't, or it's what got wiped, or something happened. They haven't investigated to see what happened exactly yet. Let me see. There's that. What else? There was something else along that stuff I was going to mention. I don't know. There will turn up on social media some various recordings from the perspective of various gang members and that kind of thing. Will get posted to public stuff. You'll find some of that. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway.
How well I remember, because I've forgotten to say this twice today. When we get back to the apartment, I want to get in touch with Marsalis and ask him if his brother can find out who's living on in the penthouse.
Okay. We can do that.
Because they're going to be affected by this as well. But somebody with a penthouse might have a bit more clout than we have.
Right.
Almost certainly they'll have some more clout than we have.
But at this point, your conversation with him will be next week. But yep, you can do that when he's here.
Do my editing.
So you're doing your editing, Pac-Man? Were you doing anything else at the building or at the Western Stars facility? This event has turned into a real mess, you know.
Yeah. Well, I'm throwing some luck into this.
Oh, go ahead, for your editing.
It somehow it went wrong somehow.
Oh,
If you mouse over, it's still there though.
Yeah.
Plus 7 plus 7 plus 7.
You put a
25.
plus sign for your positive. Did you put a modifier in?
Yeah.
You hit a plus sign with your modifier. That's fine.
Yeah,
Yep.
I see that. So 11,
So yeah,
15,
25.
25.
So it's okay. We'll take the first roll. It's okay. 25. Okay. I won't make you... Well, actually, the next one's a natural 10. Plus 1. Oh, your second roll was a 1.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you're working on all that, putting that stuff
It's
together.
up to you. I just did that for
That's okay. Yeah, you're good. I'm sorry, Pac-Man. Were you doing something else before you left the site?
Were any of the ninjas down, or did they get picked up by their fellows?
You find no...
Trauma team.
You don't find... If you start looking around for them and so on, you find nothing. You don't find any bodies that look like they were ninjas. You know there were some ropes because you saw them going out the roof. Ropes are gone. Mm-hmm. You can even go so far as you can go up on the roof. Basically, you find no... Well, actually, before I say that, you can roll your... If you're going to search for any evidence or remnants or anything of them, you should roll your awareness notice and see if you can. I'm not going to...
I should also whip out my blood scanner.
Yeah.
And
see, I'm not going to just tell you...
Up there
you go. I'm not going to just tell you you can't find any. I'm going to let you roll it and we'll see what happens.
Yep. We'll use the last spot of Licky Lucky Lou here.
Okay. Let's see how they did. Okay, so that's the roof. Under the stage. Okay. So, on the roof, you could figure out where they must have come in. There are a few spots that there's access between the roof and the equipment for lighting the stage, for stage gear, stage equipment. Basically, it's a setup where stage hands, where people running the show, can come in and out from the roof to do work or moving lights around or whatever it is they need to do even during a production. So you can tell that's pretty straightforward. There are lots of anchor points for safety harnesses and that kind of thing. Not hard to figure out. That's probably what they used for the ropes. But you don't find You don't find any ropes, you don't find any harnesses, any equipment, anything like that. You do find a couple of points of blood that are not completely dry, that are on their way to congealing. So you can, if you want to take some samples and see if you can find anything from that.
I will.
Your old 25, that's pretty good.
I'll run them through the DNA sampler computer. So if these guys have a license for anything in the city, through the police station, a license solo, have a concealed carry, that sort of stuff, it'll pop their names up.
Okay, you do not get any hits on the samples that you find. So either they weren't there, or either they weren't there to begin with, or they've covered their tracks well.
Mm-hmm.
So now let me see. So you're searching. It takes you a while between searching the roof and under the stage and so on. You get another hour or two of time you're spending on site.
Yeah,
and
that's fine. After I'm done spending the time.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, after I spend the time on the roof and under the stage collecting any samples and them coming up clean, if Bullet is still here, I'll go to him. If not, I'll go to him at the apartment and let him know that I found some samples that aren't coming up in the normal database, and let him know that these people was today. He could get a data, if he has other means to find them.
Okay. He will take the samples and, well, let's see. First, he'll run through his stuff, which may or may not be much same kind of system you're using, but he may have better access.
Last time the ninjas turned up, they turned up at the same time as the Arasaka goons. So
he doesn't find, at this point, he's going to see if he can do some more deeper looking into it, but initially he didn't find anything either. Results on the samples you gave him. Let me see. Well, I think we've done that. So you've looked.
Yeah, I'll definitely. He's got better gear and
potentially resources. The Western Stars are good. The security guy, you actually end up meeting. Actually, I'm going to give you a contact for this guy. You end up meeting in your searching around. You end up meeting the head of security for the Western Stars facility. And as soon as my notes will load, I will give you his name here in a second. Maybe. Okay, actually it is a woman. It is named Xana Clark. And she is actually like I said, she's in charge, head of security for Western Stars, for the facility, the theater, they've got a couple of buildings here that are part of their area. Okay. And after the events and everything that happened, she is willing. She actually, on parts of what you're doing, or depending on where you're going, she'll send somebody with you, but she pretty much gives you access to search where you want to search. Sometimes
I'm glad to share anything I find with.
Sometimes with an escort, but there isn't anywhere you tried to go and search in the building and stuff that they stopped you from going.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, it's a Yeah, it's a little bit early, but considering we don't have Vex here, and this is probably a good point. Unless you guys have something else for this that you want to go into, which we can do. But other than that, I think we're going to call it a little bit early today, because this is just a good stopping point at the end of that event before we get into doing something else. You know?
Yeah, fair enough.
If that works for you guys. The Thlot Pickens.
Well, I will see if they're interested in buying tonight's episode.
We
Charter Hill
will.
Massacre.
Yes, I had some notes on how I was going to do that. They are definitely interested. Part of your whole presentation, part of that, or is it just going to be the events? Okay.
The bit where I then put in the last bit and say, and this is why everybody died, is important. I want that coverage.
Okay. They are definitely interested in it. They will do their own editing. But they are definitely interested in the event and what happened and so on. So we'll cover what they will do their own editing, in that there are parts of it they as good an editing job as you did, you got rolled. They want to they're going to take out anything that has that part of the presentation, except if there's that piece of it that you're saying that you want to make sure is in there. They'll go include some of that, but they're going to cut that presentation down just as much as they possibly can, because it's not exciting. It's not in and of itself. It's not exciting. It slows the action down too much.
But I think at the end, the reveal where I point out this is why everybody died.
Well, what they're going to do, they're going to take parts of you get some of the intro stuff, the events. They're going to intersperse pieces of your presentation in it, and mix it in to. I'm not sure how to call it or how to describe it.
It'll be flash cuts.
Exactly. Flash cuts.
The presentation as breakers for the action itself.
Exactly. So they'll get it across. It will go out. It will go public, and it's going to air pretty soon. They really like this one too. Let's see.
Yeah. Well, there was plenty of dead bodies.
Yeah. So that's always good. So you're going to get, and that's when you. Oh yeah, that's part of what they really like. The whole reveal that this is what's going on. That's potentially going to be a big deal, because that's the first time this is going to go, well, at least citywide, if not national, international. That this is the theory, the idea of what's going on. We'll see with the reaction. I'll have to do some more rolling, and we'll see what the reaction to it is. How many people believe it?
Yeah. Anything on my surveillance thing for phone calls made by the fixers immediately after they left the building?
Well, you will find when you go back over that recording, actually, you'll find that once the stuff started, you've got nothing but static until when the lights go back, that point in time when everything goes, the lights and all that go back to normal, then you've got reception again.
Yep.
On the one on which one's which here? The one on Ben, you will get some stuff on. The one on Nolan, he figured that out. Once he left, you hear him going out the building, you hear him getting in a vehicle and leaving, but not much after that. You really don't get anything useful out of it. We'll have to get into it for next week, but the one from Ben, you've got some recording there, you've got some audio and stuff. You'll have to go through it, see if it's useful, see what you find out.
Because we're still none the wiser on whether these guys are behind what's
if they're
going
actually
on, or whether
involved.
they opposed it.
Right. Yep.
Because
you still don't know. Yep.
They would have, if they're with Arasaka, which is who I suspect for obvious reasons, but as I say, it could still be people hiring Arasaka samurai. But if they weren't told there was going to be an attack, then they're going to be shocked and they'll be rushed out and etc. If they knew there was going to be an attack, they'd act the same way. Which
still rather convenient that there was nobody on the stage or blocking the exits.
Yeah. But the entire thing could have been done so the gangs started shooting at each other to weaken the gangs. Because they are the only real resistance to this.
Yeah, and to start turf wars in between them.
Yeah.
Well, and you know, the whole Western Stars is hosting this particular meeting, and they kind of did not succeed in keeping it secure.
No.
So
next time they'll probably have to lock the doors after the ceiling light and yeah.
So good time.
Yep.
I hope everybody and I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know there wasn't as much direct combat, so to speak. But
intrigue is fun too, though.
Well, that's what I'm going. You know, obviously, that's what we're going for in this one, in this part of it, part of the story.
Any effect on my rep for these after these two things have aired?
Well, the second one, this one tonight hasn't aired yet. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna do some rolls next week. We'll do some rolling and see how your credibility fares. Locally, neighborhood-wise, Charter Hill South, Night City, nationwide, and international. We'll do we'll do some credibility for each one, and some of that, how that goes, will actually determine a lot, because you know, if you're believed or if you're not believed, will determine if it gets investigated, by whom it gets investigated or not. All these things.
Yep.
You know. But just depends on how it goes then. And
in my credits, I will remember to mention the designer, Lady Amon Berrigan.
Excellent. Good.
They're going to send me a free suit. They can get the appropriate advertising
credit. Yep. That was the point. They saw you as an up and coming personality, and they wanted the exposure. So
yep,
you're definitely going to have more exposure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Let's see. So okay, before we close out, for anything else you guys want to mention as far as it goes before we close out for today for this event session?
No, I think pretty much, you know, finishing the editing and what have you, what have you, pretty much covers it. I'd say just, you know, remembering to give Marcellus a call and ask his brother to see if they can find out who's on the top floor.
See what happens with that. Okay. Mr. Pac-Man, any last-minute comments or anything you want to do before we call it for today?
No, Pac's pretty good with where he's at. He's gonna, starting next week, he's gonna do a quick liaise with the leaders of everybody who listened to his orders. Just, you know, the standard calling card to make sure everybody made it out all right. See how badly they took any losses.
Okay.
That sort of thing.
Cool.
Yeah. Oh, I will ask Pac-Man if he wants to be listed in the credits.
Yeah, feel free. I don't mind at all.